Case Study Project for Joshua Bartley. Community collaboration. Our challenge. The problem. Our ESE team did not have a methodical and organized way of identifying and solving problems. We lacked a solid system for interpersonal problem solving. The implications for this? We did not always get to the root of the problem. IEP, MRT, and RTI meetings would be confusing and lack substance. They would also be embarrassing. Our plan. We wanted to create an interpersonal problem-solving template that could be used to identify problems and create solutions that will be beneficial to our students. This was important because interpersonal problem-solving is perhaps the most fundamental component of successful interactions. In fact, it is virtually impossible to collaborate with colleagues or parents without having an interpersonal problem-solving method. The relationship duration of my case study. I've worked with my team for a few years now. I respect their opinions as ESE professionals and their skills as ESE professionals. We've had this idea of creating some kind of ESE template for about a year now, but this case study provided me with the opportunity to move forward with the idea that was necessary and had substance. The summer break meant a lot of communication through social media. So the duration of a lot of my case study has been talking through social media to my teammates. Specifically, GroupMe and Skype. They've saved us. Collaboration, diversity. Our population. I work at a Title I school on the west side of Jacksonville. If you're not familiar with Title I, that basically means that the majority of our children qualify for free or reduced lunch, which means a lot of them come from poor families. Many of our kids come from single parent households, which means that there needs to be a certain level of cultural sensitivity and cultural awareness when dealing with my population. We have a diverse population in my school. A majority of the kids are African American, but there also is a large and growing Latino population. Many of these people are in the ESOL program. This also creates an interesting dynamic at our school because you also have to be culturally aware and culturally sensitive to people that might not have English as their native tongue. Cultural awareness and sensitivity are mandatory. That's why it's important that we have a template, an interpersonal problem-solving template that can deal with these diverse cultural issues that happen at our school. Our team is just as diverse and dynamic as our student population is, and that's almost a necessity at a school like ours, because dealing with the population we have to have a team that can relate. I work with a fourth-year ESE teacher who is female and African American. She also happens to be a single mother. This comes in handy when we're dealing with students that come from single-family households. In fact, I believe a majority of our students come from single-parent households, so it's always great to have her on the team and get her interesting and insightful perspectives on what it's like being a single mother. We also have a veteran ESE liaison who is male and African American. He also happens to be a drug counselor. This is important when we're dealing with students who either suffer from substance abuse or have parents that suffer from substance abuse. He can really relate to these kids, and he's also an asset on our team. Finally, we have a fifth-year speech therapist who is male and Caucasian. He helps us with kids that have speech and language issues. which is a lot of our kids. Much of the ESC population has speech and language disabilities, along with behavioral or intellectual disabilities. So it's always great to have his perspective. And he also provides some cultural diversity on our team in a school that's mostly African American. A diversity of perspectives and experiences is what happens when we collaborate at our school. Successes and challenges. I've had both successes and challenges working on my case study this summer. But first, let me start with the successes. First, a big success was overcoming the communication barrier. We were out for summer break, and it wasn't always easy to get with my colleagues and collaborate. But fortunately, we were able to overcome that with the use of technology. Positive interaction and feedback with coworkers. Even though I wasn't able to meet with them as often as I like, every interaction that we had was positive and something that we could build on. And finally, I feel like we came out with a good final product. It was clear, concise, and it's something that we could really use in the classroom. Challenges. The communication barrier, obviously. I think you always come out with better outcomes when you have easy access to communication. Other challenges. Different ideas about how the template should look. I'm kind of an artistic person. I like to have a lot of colorful stuff. Some of my teammates didn't necessarily think we should go that route. They wanted more of a streamlined version of the template. And finally, collaboration is always a challenge when working with different personalities. Some people are passive, some people are talkative, and some people are overly expressive. And I've dealt with all those kind of people working on this case study. Professional growth. The biggest areas of professional growth came from receiving and giving feedback and e-partnerships. First, with receiving and giving feedback. Descriptions of specific behaviors are more easily understood than general comments. I was fortunate that my teammates gave me honest opinions about templates, specifically the flashiness of them. They didn't like how much artwork I was putting in my templates, so I had to compromise and go with a more streamlined version. In e-partnerships. Email has become a significant mode of communication, especially among those with scheduling conflicts. The biggest challenge I had during this case study was scheduling meetings with colleagues, and the use of technology helped me out tremendously. Skype, GroupMe, emails, phone calls, all of that helped out tremendously. I would not have been able to have this collaboration and finish my case study without any growth in e-partnerships. That's a big piece in the 21st century. Future growth. I believe my biggest opportunity for future growth comes from implementation of the template. Using the steps of interpersonal problem solving as described in my template and the book and applying it to the real world setting. I believe that's the only way I'm going to grow from this case study, actually using the template that I made. And working out any issues that come out of the implementation and creating a smooth system from there. Also, using strategies I learned. Last week I was able to meet with my ESC department in person. We met at Applebee's and I showed them the interactions book and they were thoroughly impressed. There are so many strategies in there that could be used in the real world, and anybody that works in ESC can look at that book and grab some good strategies that they're currently not using and use it for future growth. Overall, my experience with the case study has been good.